The Zone Coverage Podcast Network.
The Andy Luke and Reef Football Machine.
Autobots, transform! I like this kind of party!
Straight cash, homie.
Starts now.
Welcome back to Thunderdome for another Zone Coverage Football Machine, Zone Coverage Podcast Network. I'm your not so humble host, Andy Carlson, at Andy Carlson Show on the Twitter machine. And I have actually more equity than I just lost with Yinka, as I said that Justin Timberlake was a better musician than Jamie Foxx.
That's good.
No, like, it's a theory that I've had for a while. It's like Justin Timberlake and Jamie, like, Justin Timberlake is the white Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is the black Justin Timberlake. Sorta. Like, Jamie Foxx obviously has better comedic chops and is a much more accomplished actor and is a better musician. Actually, no, Justin Timberlake is a poor man's Jamie Foxx. I just talked myself out of it. And roll credits. See you next week.
You're welcome.
But join me is Yinka at Saxy Prince. What's going on?
Yeah, man. Hour 2 was good. Hour 1 was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was.
Is it because of Reef's not here? Yinka, you starting that already?
Yeah, it's given that I'm not getting made fun of the entire pod. It's really
he
nice.
does treat you like a little brother. It's really a funny
yes, he
dynamic.
does. Yes, he does. But I mean, I always call him my brother. And he's like, I'm not your brother. I was like, well, you sure as hell act like it.
He's the Jimmy Butler of your family. He just shows up and like creates trouble.
Also sitting in is Tom Schreier, T. Schreier 3.
I'm here because I'm the third string guy, I guess.
All right, so what's the deal with Luke?
His car broke down, and he called AAA, and his phone also is not working. So,
what a coincidence!
Yeah. We have a lot of Luke issues. I'll have to go down to Lakeville and straighten things out.
You have to go down to Lakeville Lifetime and straighten him out in basketball, just like Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I think we should all act like Jimmy Butler at all times.
What did people do in the olden days when they didn't really have cell phones to use and their car broke down?
Yeah, it's a good question. You just roll over and ditch.
Got murdered by people who stopped. Because hitchhiking. I could not imagine hitchhiking.
Someone tried
nowadays.
to do that outside the Target Center last year. The guy was upset that I wouldn't pick him up. I was like, what? No one hitchhikes anymore.
It's surge price there. Also working the board is the maestro, Eric. What's going on? Eric, Eric does have a mic. Just nod or blink twice if you can hear me, or if you agree. You seem like a guy that likes to wear beanies year round. Maybe not. Oh.
A little bit.
Yeah, well, there you go. List hour 1 talked about 21, 23, 21, 23, 21, 23, 21, as well as some Jimmy Butler, because it's just, I know, it's a football show, but
Jimmy Butler.
It's so freaking hilarious.
Oh my God, I love it.
He's buddies with like Le'Veon Bell and some of those guys. Maybe they're telling, hey, hold out, man. Get the money.
Well, like, isn't Jimmy a lot more fun as the antagonist in this story?
A little bit.
Like,
Because, you like Wiggins and Towns. Like, they're nice kids and stuff.
Well,
but,
Towns can be the protagonist, and then Jimmy is just like the guy who, like, think about when Cat becomes like this superstar that we know he can be.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna have to kind of thank Jimmy Butler for like pushing you to be better than what you are.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain line he can cross. I'm curious if he did. I'll look back and be like, what were you doing there that day? Like, if you're not going to play on the team or whatever.
Is Jimmy Butler the Le'Veon Bell, the aforementioned Le'Veon Bell of the NBA?
I think you
have a guy who's old relative to his position, where Jimmy's actually just kind of old.
Well, hey, think about this. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Jimmy Butler wants to get paid. Final year of his deal. Played only 59 games last year. He would be playing for Tom Thibodeau, his favorite coach, a guy who plays him a lot of minutes. Le'Veon Bell, it seemed like, wants to get paid.
Call that number.
Is a little worried about how the Steelers would use him in the final year of his contract, and they're both about a similar age. I mean, it is basketball and football, but if there is a basketball player who plays like a football player, and we certainly know he admires football players, it's Mr. Jimmy Butler. Yep.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Sorry, there's
All right,
my
so
rant on Jimmy
we're
Butler.
going up the phone lines. We're actually doing a thing now. Like, if we miss a call, we're just going to call people back, which I think that should be a thing. But we'll warm up with the Twitter question. Has Linval caught his breath yet?
No.
No.
By the way, I love the fat man running moment. I love that he put on sunglasses.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, if you see him at camp, like he is always swagged out. He's wearing the Jordans. He wears the sunglasses
He had
at
the pink
walkthroughs.
suit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now I feel like a lot of the guys just have like swagged out suits that they only wear if they have a big game when they know they're going to be talking to press. And if it doesn't happen, they just put it away.
Linval probably slept in this that night.
Nah, I mean, it's your travel suit. It's what you bring with.
Laramie Tunsil probably was like, "Hey, I did that same thing, and my stock dropped." Like, what the hell? But yeah, amazing moment all around for Linval Joseph.
Yeah. Then also an addendum on that. So the last 4 games have somewhat gone against expectations. Expect a loss at Green Bay and tie. Hope to blow Buffalo and lose badly. Expect to be blown out at LA and keep it close, and also somehow win Philly. I hate the challenge of football gods, but the next 4 look winnable. Is that a question? They should be favored all the next 4 games. So Arizona at home, at the Jets, Saints at home, Sunday Night Football. That one will be kind of testing. And then also Lions at home. Although Zimmer has an interesting record at home against the Lions. So who knows?
And I think the Lions, I like the Lions as far as their skill positions and then some of their weapons. I mean, they have Kerryon Johnson.
Babytron.
Yeah, they have Kerryon Johnson. They have, oh my God, Kenny Golladay is amazing. You have Golden Tate. You have Theo Riddick. I mean, they have weapons. So, I mean, I could definitely see the Vikings like losing a game at Detroit and whatnot.
Hey, caller, who we got?
It's Hoodie. What's up, guys?
Hoodie, what's going on? We're just marveling over Detroit skill position players.
Yeah, I heard Galladay is amazing, isn't he?
Yeah, that one catch where it broke my heart that he didn't score. I'm just like, come on. Like, you make that pirouette catch and then you get down at like the 4. Come on.
Right.
Yeah, it hurt my fantasy football league team too. I understand, Andy. I gotcha.
Similar.
So where do we put the Jimmy Butler rant today with Percy Harvin's like level? So say like, here's Jimmy Butler's fiasco today on the Percy Harvin's actions throughout his years as a Viking. Mm-hmm. Would this be under the tossing of the weight at a coach? Would this be? I'm trying to think what other things Percy did.
I think Jimmy's is actually rooted in passion and wanting
competition.
To win.
Yeah, whereas like Percy Harvin was just being an a-hole that day.
To our knowledge, I guess the one thing is that if he doesn't want to be on the team, what's he doing there? But other than that, I mean, I don't think there was an intent to injure. I don't think it went that far.
Right. I'm just saying is that, like, as far as, I mean, what else did Percy do besides chucking a weight at a coach, which, of course, why he never got suspended right after that is still beyond me. But what other things we would say that was pretty equivalent to, I guess Harvin was passionate too on that. I mean, look, I think Butler, I mean, that whole Wolf thing's a fiasco, but it is very similar to like some ways with Harvin, about Harvin's frustration, because at the time Harvin was pretty frustrated with Christian Ponder, and could you blame him for that? Because Ponder just honestly was just not a good quarterback, and you know, he wanted more touches, which I get, because to be honest with you, without Harvin for the first 5 or 6 games of that year, we don't make the playoffs because AP's still coming back from that knee injury. So I guess in some ways it's still very equivalent to what Harvin was going through in 2012.
Well, I will have to respectfully disagree. I just think that this Jimmy thing is, he's a competitor. He's a guy who is very, very good in the NBA, and he knows that he is the elder statesman compared to Cat and Wiggins and stuff, and he's not going to allow them to. Just because Cat is kind of looked at as like this future superstar, or kind of on the precipice of that, he's not going to allow him to just, I'm there, I'm arrived. So he's going to keep pressing him, and he also doesn't want to just play with guys who are very good and are okay with just being very good. He wants them to continue to grow. Whereas I think Percy Harvin just, again, I think part of it is his personality. He's just an a-hole. But at the same time, like Christian Ponder just was not good, and like that's frustrating when like the guy who you need to be good is not good. Whereas Jimmy is like he acknowledges that Cat is good. He acknowledges that Wiggins has a lot of potential that's probably still untapped. And he doesn't want to be on a team in which those two top guys who he needs to be the guys on either side of him to be performing at a high level. He doesn't want those guys to kind of settle into mediocrity. So,
I agree. I think Butler. I agree. I think Butler had every right to rant and then had the interview. I heard part of the interview. I honestly thought his points were legitimate. I have no problem with that at all. I don't. Actually, I do. I just thought, I just think that, and don't be wrong, I was thrilled that Harvin got tossed too, got traded, because obviously down the road it actually turned out being better for us. But I mean, I do see some similarities before the tossing of the weight or whatever it was in that part too, like some of the frustrations on that as well.
Been hilarious if it was a shake weight.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it's like, first of all, how does a shake weight make into an NFL weight room? And then also, it's like, Percy's like, why is that the one that you grab? That's all I know.
I think the other thing is Percy Harvin was how old at the time?
Young, early 20s?
Yeah, and Jimmy Butler, I think the big thing there is that, A, he wants to get paid because he's a little bit older, but also there's going to be more urgency later in your career, later in your 20s, than when you're just getting into the league. I think the comparison is certainly interesting. And I think, to be honest, I'm sure some, people will be talking that a lot, trying to compare what Jimmy Butler did to any athletic event at any time, because it was so absurd, and trying to make sense of it.
Oh, yeah, and I agree, too, on that part. Let's move on. Actually, I want to go a little bit different here. Andy, by the way, great video about our man Remmers, why he's not at right tackle. And I've only been commenting on that for the last several weeks as well, why he's not there. But say hypothetical, Remmers does get moved to right tackle, right? Who do you have going to right guard?
Initially, I would have said Brett Jones, but talking to my man Doogie this week, that he's reached out to people inside the organization, and it's like, no, like Jones does not have necessarily the strength or the the lateral agility to play guard in the Vikings offense. So I would go Isadora. I think he showed well at times in his rookie year, and also looked pretty good in camp. And I probably would go Isadora. I think it speaks volumes that they let Witzman go. Like they're having so many offensive line issues, and they're like, hey, Brian, deuces.
So I got a dark horse for you for right guard.
Oh, no.
Pat Elflein.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get your best five on the field, and Jones is better at center than he is at guard, and Pat, I mean, you want Pat at the pivot, but also it's like if you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, maybe.
He was a stud at Ohio State, dude. I mean, I watched him play. It didn't matter where he played, if it was center or guard, he was a stud in both positions. And if you're talking about having to do in a pinch, like they obviously did it last year with Remmers in the playoffs, but I mean, I'd have zero issues of moving him to guard and then starting Jones at center, because you would definitely have your top five there. I really do think so. I think Hill showed pretty decently. He did okay at left tackle. If Reif has to be out, if Riley Reif's out for a little bit, I think he can handle that spot a lot better than O'Neal can. Mm-hmm. And I mean, obviously the worst case scenario is Remmers has to move to left tackle. That's the absolute worst case scenario on that. But I have no problem putting Elflein at right guard. I think, to be honest with you, I think putting Jones at center and Elflein at right guard, I think was probably a better option than Isidore, to be honest.
I think the worst case scenario is you're starting left tackle Storm Norton.
Oh God, no.
3-12-1. 3-12-1. Come on.
Oh God, no. God, I hope not.
Yeah.
That would be pretty awful. Before I go, guys, go see A Star Is Born. It's phenomenal. It is.
I've heard it is great, but also I'm not a fan of emotion, so I'll pass.
Andy's
if you're not a fan of emotions, then don't go.
All right, appreciate you.
Then go see Bad Times at the El Royale. That one's actually fantastic too.
Boom. There you go. You're the man, Hoodie.
Peace.
Hey, caller, who we got?
Hey, what's up? This is Wyatt from Texas.
Wyatt.
What's up, Wyatt?
What's up? I didn't get the normal, Wyatt. It's kind of
it's because of Reef's not here.
Yeah, I know. It's not the same. Not the same. Anyway, are we allowed to cuss on the show or what?
Sure. Fire.
Hey, fuck Philly. Let's go. Let's go. God, that felt good, didn't it?
It did. It would have felt better if it was 23-14, 23-7, but no, beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
I'm not going to give that garbage time touchdown to just get the ball back and kneel it. Whatever, let them have it. Let them have it. Who cares? We beat that ass.
Although it was,
we missed those 2 field goals.
You know, in hindsight, initially when they went for 2, I was like, what are they doing? And then I was like, in hindsight, it's like, oh, that's actually pretty brilliant. If you're down 2 touchdowns, going for 2 on your first score.
I mean, I'd be lying to tell you I wasn't a little worried there. I was like, this would be the most Minnesota thing ever for them to get this ball back, move it 15 yards. Jake Elliott kicks another 63-yard field goal and win the game. I was like, that would be the most Minnesota Vikings moment of all time. It'd be terrible.
Yeah, and of course, Philly fans would be more insufferable than they go eat a pile of horse doo-doo-doo.
Yeah. Honestly, that makes it worth it, though, to lose. Like, you guys are still eating horse shit. That sucks, man. Like, God, they really got to.
It's like the concept, win or lose. It's not that we still booze; it's we still eat horse.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, who cares? But I guess my question to you guys is: do you guys think that Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs statistically will be better than Moss and Carter with the Vikings?
Longevity, no, but just because Carter was here for so long, Moss was only here for like 6 years, wasn't he? And then because Thielen's going to be truncated because of age. Diggs potentially could have a longevity run like Chris Carter, but also I don't think he's going to put up Chris Carter type numbers in terms of like volume, but he's definitely make a case for being more dynamic. But I mean, short term, if you're just looking at like a prime 3-year run, just because of era, potentially.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking too. I really think that Diggs, I think within a little 3-year span here, you could see Moss, Carter F numbers.
Or how about Moss and Jake? Or how about Carter and Jake Reed? I mean, they were pretty good back in the day too.
I'll take that. Hey, I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll definitely take that. But and the other thing, should we be worried about Eric Kendricks? Like, what is happening?
I mean, yes, because he hasn't been performing very well. No, because I think Zim will correct it.
What if it's not a technique thing though? What if it's literally his brother is in some trouble and it's in his head?
You expect these guys I know the fans want these guys to be robots and professionals, except they're still humans at the end of the day. And with the stuff with Everson, who he's close with, as well as his brother, who's obviously close with, is like, I mean, that has to factor in a little bit.
Yeah, and the other thing is like, I think we also the NFL season is 4 months long, but it's still only 16 games. So even so, when you look at other sports who have anywhere from 70 to 80 games in a season, it's still such a small sample size to really be able to. So I mean, like, yeah, he could be bad for the rest of the season and then perform really well for the rest of his career.
It's like if Jimmy Butler sucked for 20 games. Essentially, what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
it's just
he did.
It's almost worrisome. I mean, if you think it's coaching to the point, because I mean, Barr and Kendricks have been up and down really their entire careers to this point. It is, you don't really know what's going to come out on game day between those guys. And if we're paying you $10 million, you can't be doing that. I mean, plain and simple, no matter what's going on. I mean, I get it. Like life happens, but man, when you're eating $10 million against the cap every year, you gotta figure it out.
But he's got to find a way to turn that $10 million a year into 50 in a year.
Yeah, figure it out. Yeah, do it. I mean, because Dion, apparently, y'all see this Dion Buchanan stuff, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. The money backer idea would be fun, but also I would be damn interested in Hassan Reddick. Like, if Anthony Barr was let go, like, I would adore Hassan Reddick being in purple.
Really?
Yeah.
You like Hassan Reddick that much, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I need to watch more on Hassan Reddick. I don't know if I've that high on him, but I'm super high on Dion Buchanan. I'm all about Dion.
Well, he sort of has a similar profile to Anthony Barr. Definitely doesn't have the size, but in terms of he was primarily an edge guy at Temple, and then coming to the NFL, initially they were making him an off-ball linebacker, and now since the Cardinals are depleted by injuries, he sort of has to play like both. off-ball linebacker and a little bit more edge. So he's not exactly a scheme for them anymore. So I get why they're sort of shopping him, but also it's like, I mean, dude's a hell of a talented player.
So do you guys think that Sheldon Richardson is more likely to get signed at this point? I mean, it's like the season ended today. It's got to be Richardson. Right?
One more game and he's playing at the level he's playing at, then yeah, I definitely see him being a guy that.
But also, like, if he keeps playing, like, you can make a case like Sheldon and Hunter have been the guys who have been the most consistent over these 5 games. You throw Linval in there as well. But I mean, the price tag for like prime 3-techs in this league, it's a little spendy. It's a little tight. I know that the cap is a myth, but I mean, at a certain point, paying Sheldon Richardson $14-15 million a year too is like that's snug.
Because I mean, I think my biggest fear is that Everson's not coming back. Like, I think I've gotten to the point where I've accepted he's not coming back. I don't know. Honestly, yeah, he's got a lot going on, but that mental health, that doesn't go away. It's not just something you can table during the season and then it just go away. So I've kind of accepted that Everson's probably gone, which leaves a ridiculous gap at the right hand spot.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I've been a little bit more vocal as far as like this is probably the 2019 draft is you draft a Everson Griffin replacement. You make sure that you get a guy who will be able to kind of stand in as your.
I think that's I like the mentality, because you just don't know if football can make this worse. Like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Not only if it's an underlying thing, but if you're the Vikings, I think you have to start thinking, what do we do without him? Not to be disrespectful to him, but actually to be like, look, come back if you're okay to play football.
But also it's like Everson Griffin, ever since he was young, like football has been a part of his life, and like we're not really inside his head. Like being away from friends, family, football family essentially, and teammates, like that's gotta tear him up and take him away from the game that he loves. Like that has to be part of the equation. And it's like, yeah, is he putting his mental health and potential like brain at risk as well for continuing to play football? Absolutely. But also it's like in terms of like quality of life and what he wants to do, I mean, that's really up to him.
It is.
And I back that. I do.
It just keeps getting cut off.
No, it's all good.
No, go ahead.
It's touchy subject.
Go ahead, Wyatt.
What was that?
Go ahead, Wyatt.
No, sorry. Really, I was just saying that at the end of the day, he's not even just a risk to himself. He's a risk to the other teammates as well. You have a freak out or, slip up during a practice or something, and then, you just never know. I mean, I played football since Pop Warner to college, and it was, I've been there in the sense of like having real concussions where you're kind of scrambled, and it takes a little bit to come back from. But at the end of the day, I've never seen it to the extent of what's happening with Everson Griffin, and I think that's just because of the way he's played football, and he's the older generation now of football before, the softness that's kind of taken over the league. So he's been laying the wood to running back through laying the wood back for years. So I think that probably has a big part to do with it. But like I said, at the end of the day, if you can't keep your mind right, football is the last thing you want to be doing. And so I've talked to a lot of buddies about it, and honestly, I don't think he's coming back. I think that's the last we've seen of Everson Griffin. And so, as bad as it is to say, I know it's weird to say now. We need to worry about the team instead of worry about Everson, but we need to worry about the team instead of worrying about Everson right now. Like we have a huge gap at right end. Stephen Weatherly, yeah, that's great.
No, Danielle Hunter is looking damn fine at right end.
You like Weatherly there?
No, Hunter's been primarily at the right side.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess I'm okay with Hunter being there. I kind of like Hunter on the left. It gives them a little more. Usually going against right tackles, who aren't as good. So it's kind of nice having that piece over on the left. But man, what do you think? What do you think we do for the rest of the year? You think you see Barr more down on the line? Is that something you think?
Keep rotating Barr and Weatherly on the edge, and then there's not Holmes, but I'm thinking of an interior guy that they switched to the interior who originally was a defensive end that they slid into.
Afadio Deneba.
That's
bring him back.
Really funny.
If I'd say anything out of Everson this season is essentially found money. It's gravy. I do think he will be back next season at minimum. But if they'll have to make a decision in terms of his roster spot as well. It's like if they decide to put him on NFI, if they put him on the IR, then I would expect them to sign some sort of veteran edge help, whether it be the Houstons or the Airs that they worked out, or Brian Robinson. Come on down, baby.
Well, I think the issue with signing Brian Robinson is like, because they respect him, I don't think that they would want to bring him back just to have to cut him again.
No, they're bringing him back for the Super Bowl run at 4-9-1. We're getting it.
It's just, I honestly, I think, this is probably a 10-win team. I hate to say that. God, we lost the Bills. But you're not going to be in a prime draft spot to get that, the Everson Griffin count. Now, granted, Everson Griffin, we got him the third round, and Daniil Hunter,
fourth
same
round.
Story, but you can't just keep doing that. I mean, it's like that mentality is what has gotten us our trash line. Is because we're just like, oh yeah, you can totally wait till the fifth round. Like, it's not a big deal at all.
Well, it's an interesting juxtaposition because everyone always says you do not take an interior offensive lineman in the first round, and then also the same people talking out of both sides of their mouth this year is like, should have taken Hernandez. Can't have both ways.
Yeah, that's tough too because Hernandez is really playing good too as a rookie. He's looking
allegedly,
really good,
according to who?
Allegedly.
Well, the eye test. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sure PFF has a different,
No, he's raking on PFF, and also it's funny. Like the people who deride PFF all the time is like, what do they know? Nerds. They're the ones pushing forward the Hernandez. But. Yeah.
So if you could redo it, would you take Hughes or Hernandez, knowing what you know right now?
I would still take Hughes. It's still a passer and stop the passer league, and I think Hughes is going to pan out and be perfectly fine.
Do we know what's wrong with Wayne? Is there a consensus on that yet?
He passed concussion protocol, was practicing today, so it looks like he's going to play on Sunday.
Okay, yeah. I mean, honestly, I like Hughes getting the reps. I think Hughes takes over that spot. I think, we probably move on from Trey Waynes at the end of this year. So I really think Hughes takes that spot over anyways.
Yep.
I think the real question is, what are we going to do with Mackenzie Alexander? Because he hasn't looked hot. So
it's really unfortunate that Mac has sort of plateaued where he makes the same mistakes over and over, and it's unfortunate because in training camp it looked like he took some strides. I think the addition of Hughes actually helped him because Mac's a competitor, but he's just such a liability on defense still.
Yeah, no, he's not doing it. He's not doing it.
The passer rating when targeted this year on him is 118.8, so it's not ideal, but yeah.
Is it weird to say that Hughes reminded me so much of Trey Waynes in the fact that he was in the perfect spot, had great coverage, and still got caught on? I was like, yep, that makes sense.
Well, see, that's why, Hughes still had a relatively good PFF grade because even though he gave up, quote unquote, gave up that big catch to Gibson and also the touchdown to Ertz, he was in great position. Right. It's like you can't really, at a certain point, there's just nothing you can do with you can be in great coverage, great position, great leverage, and then also they can just make and complete a perfect pass.
Right, and that was always, I feel like, Trey Wayne's Achilles heel, which he's always there. It's just
Wayne's Achilles heel is his hips.
Is what?
Is his hips? He's a terrible dancer.
Yeah. So I played a strong box safety in college, and the reason I did that was because I also had terrible hips. So having bad hips, you see it in other players.
Wait, what college did you play at, Wyatt?
That's why we did. Southeastern Oklahoma State, or D2. We weren't very good.
Wait, is that the place where Rex Ryan got his coaching start?
No, not Rex Ryan. Who is it? The basketball player. I forget his name. The crazy basketball player who hangs out with Kim Jong-un. What's his name?
You went to Rodman's alma mater?
Say what?
Dennis Rodman.
Yeah. They do. You know what's crazy? Dennis Rodman tried to donate a entire stadium, a basketball stadium in Southeastern, and they said no because he wanted to call it Dennis Rodman Stadium, and they're that ashamed of it. So, I was like, damn, he was going to give us a whole stadium.
What are you talking about? The Worm averaged like 30 points a game in college. It's like they should be proud of that stuff.
You would think, I was like, come on. I mean, Southeastern, it's a little school. It ain't about much. And so anything, take it. We're right next to the Choctaw Casino. I don't know if y'all know that parts around Oklahoma, but, we're not very good ever. So, most of our players are degenerates or people like me who ain't got any hits to save their life. So it's one of those things. When Dennis Rodman says, here's some money, we probably shouldn't turn our nose at it. Like, no, we're too good. Take that, Dennis.
Well,
all right.
What? You're the man. Appreciate you calling in as always, brother.
All right, man. I'll talk to you next week.
Ika, what'd you have to say about Everson? Apologies for like all 9 of us cutting you off.
Oh, no, I was just mostly just going to say that, no, it was a good take to really have Everson consider his mental health, and the Vikings really should, look at life after Everson Griffin, and this draft season will probably be finding a replacement for him.
We have another caller. All right, caller, who we got?
I'm calling him back.
Oh. I got you. No, I'm trying to look up Dennis Rodman's college stats now. I'm obsessed.
That was Southeastern Oklahoma State was where he went?
Yeah.
Jesus. I did not know that.
In Durant, Oklahoma.
Voice message system.
Oh. Let's leave him a voicemail.
Oh.
Do we get the beep yet?
Probably trying to call us back.
Damn it. What is nothing? They have a Barnes & Noble. I'm actually kind of sad that Barnes & Nobles are closing because that used to be an experience, man.
What did you do in the Barnes & Noble?
Peruse the books that you're going to get at the library or order on Amazon for cheaper.
You didn't sit there and drink tea in the middle? Didn't they set up like a little cafeteria at one point?
Yeah. Like, I get it. You want the experience, but also setting up an experience for customers where you don't buy anything, that's so rough. Hey, caller, who we got?
Jack from Fergus Falls.
Hey, Jack Fergus Falls. What's going on, man?
I was asking for some advice. So, I have a girlfriend, and my birthday was yesterday, and she bought me a Packers blanket.
Oh.
Or she made it, so it's better. So, like, what should I do? Should I burn it or, like, what?
Well,
should I burn it?
I think you should. Is your girlfriend a Packers fan?
Yeah.
Oh, so there you go. You should have it in a very common area of the house apartment. So have it on like the couch or whatever, and be like, "Hey, baby, like we're only going to use this when we're together. So I can think of you."
Wow, romantic, Andy.
Yeah, very romantic.
That's not romantic. That's trying to get some.
I would say you keep it in your closet, and when you know she's going to come over or whatnot, then you can spread it on the bed and just be like, I can't go to sleep unless this is covering me. So then that just puts her in the mood, and then you can just rip it off and just be like, yo, we were about to get down and dirty. Nighttime is the right time. So when it's business time, Packers blanket isn't on the bed. So
then you light it on fire.
Zone coverage after that.
All right.
Nobody's going to call this after 8 o'clock ever again.
Hey, Jack, appreciate you, man.
We need to get more calls like that.
Yeah, we do. All right, so it was actually Southwestern Oklahoma State where Rex Ryan played college football. Wyatt went to Southeastern, which is yeah. Caller, who we got?
Tyler from Maple Grove. How are you guys doing tonight?
Hey, good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. They put the league back on Hulu, so I'm enjoying my life right now.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's good that's after 9/11 because Steve Ranzizi still has some things to work out.
Yeah, that is definitely true. I had a couple questions for you guys. One of them being Mike Remmer's still at right guard. I heard a theory earlier today that it might be because D. Filippo likes his tackles to be very athletic, and, well, that's not something Remmers is. Is that the case?
Well, in terms of athletic tackles, all right, so who did Flip had? No, not Flip. JDF had Joe Thomas, and I think it was Joel Bitonio. I think they had him at right tackle back then. And then, last year he had Jason Peters and Lane Johnson, who are the least athletic tackles in the league. So, no, I'm just kidding. It's very possible. It's plausible.
Yeah, it was just something that kind of piqued my interest, just because he is obviously a better tackle than he is a guard. But Hill, you could probably argue, is a little bit more athletic, and O'Neal definitely is more athletic. But we don't get paid for that. And then last question I had was Rock Thomas seemed to get a lot more touches, and then I was just curious if that was more scheme based, or they like him that much that they wanted to get him that involved.
I do think the Vikings really truly see Rock Thomas as their third running back. I think they like his skill set. I think they like what he can bring to the table. Mike Boone is athletically, he's incredibly insane. But I think the issue, well, not issue, but I think the Vikings still see Rock Thomas as that third guy. I do think Mike Boone's a little bit better in pass protection.
Much better.
But as far as, the guy that they want overall, I think that they can see more so as a more well-rounded running back in Rock Thomas, which is why you're seeing him get a little bit more touches. And in training camp, we did see Rock Thomas as the third running back on the depth chart, and that's how the Vikings have continually.
We forget that Denver preseason game. That seems like so long ago.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a fluke. I think the Vikings just really, really like Rock Thomas, which is, I think, part of the reason why they decided to keep both.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I remember watching Rock Thomas when he was at Jacksonville State. He was pretty good, and obviously he was a 5-star recruit that initially went to Auburn. So he's got something there.
Jacksonville State, not in Florida, which is so confusing. Hey, Tom, appreciate your call, man.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, caller, who we got?
Hey, what's good? This Fred.
Freddie. What's going on, my man?
What's happening, players? Man, I'm watching the new dinosaur movie, The Fallen Kingdom or whatever.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs are crazy, man.
Does it kind of suck?
What are you guys doing? Oh, go ahead. What was that?
Does it kind of suck? I heard it sucked.
Well, I don't know. I just started, but I'll probably won't finish it now. Thanks.
No problem. You have more important things to do, like talk to us.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Actually, man, I got a whole bunch of horse shit to eat after that big victory.
It is the Breakfast of Champions.
Breakfast of Champions. Oh man, that was sweet. Felt good. Get a little W. It's hard to get in today. Is everyone calling about the game?
Yeah. Well, calling about the game. We got dating advice. We talked about Dennis Rodman for a stretch.
Jimmy Butler.
It's very interesting.
Oh, yeah, Butler, that dude. Man, I don't have any dating advice, but that Butler thing, man, God, man, like, I'm a big Wolves fan, but I just, I love Jimmy Butler. I love that. Because those kids, they're just at home whining about it, playing video games and stuff. He took it to him. I don't know. It's a bad situation, but whatever. Jimmy's doing what Jimmy needs to do for himself.
I feel like Jimmy acts that way when playing FIFA with Chad Ochocinco as well.
FIFA video games?
Yeah, he's an athlete under 30, so of course they play FIFA.
Oh, I thought they all played. What's it called?
Fortnite.
That too.
Running Bull,
Fortnite.
4 scores.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't played video games in a long time. I feel like I'm older than I really am. But I don't really play video games.
Yeah, man, it's tough.
And I haven't been on a date in a long time, so shit, man. I don't think I can contribute.
Yeah, because you got your lady on lockdown.
No doubt. She watched the dinosaur movie with me too. Came home. She came home and put on that Survivor,
Yeah.
I can't watch that stuff. It's lame. And it's racist, Black people are first to get voted off every single year. All the white people, there's something wrong with her.
Wait, we're talking about Survivor or we're talking about The Bachelorette?
Oh, Survivor. That's probably racist too, though. I don't know. Is that true? Do they vote? Do they?
No, see, here's what happens on The Bachelorette is that there'll be like 2 black contestants on every one, 2 black bachelors, and she won't vote them out first week because that would be obvious. But she'll vote them out weeks 2 and 3. It's like, come on, lady. Come on, we know what you're doing.
Well, because
terrible.
it's just up to one person. One person, they'll be like, well, I can't do that right away. But if you let all the white people decide, they'll be like, oh, man, maybe I'll get rid of them. And they'll make up some bullshit. I don't know. I can't do it. I don't watch that. So I had to wait it out. But now we're watching the one with Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
Hey, I was asking, is Bradford going to come along to the game? It's too warm to ski. I mean,
unlikely because Glennon's now their backup because they don't want to have him active because every game that he plays, he makes like $380,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are they gonna? Are we gonna lose out on that pick?
Probably not. It probably won't affect things much compensatory wise. Yeah, it'll be fine. I mean, they still signed him to 2 years, $20 million a year. Also, they have $5 million dead on him next year, so they're probably going to move on. So they have to eat a little bit of crow as well.
Yeah, they shouldn't do it then. We really need that pick too. You think we're gonna win?
Hell yeah!
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident about it. I'm actually going to the game.
Hey.
I've never been there before. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
What are you gonna wear? What's the jersey? What's the attire?
Oh man, I got my old faded CC jersey, number 80. It's like 20
straight.
years old. It's a gem.
Yeah, I think
I haven't grown since I was like 12, so everything fits me,
Hey, there we go, Freddie. Hey, you the man as always. Appreciate you calling in, brother.
All right, my friends. Godspeed. Good luck on those dates and all that.
That's right.
Tequila and all whatever you got going on. So
It's a deep reference.
all right.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.
Also, if you want to go deep, and build up your deep pockets, mybookie.ag.
That's not where I thought it was.
Is the place to go. Oh,
It went a better place than you were thinking.
Yeah, because in-game live betting, because Vikings Cardinals are favored by 10.5, over under 43, but things go sideways. Maybe you want some halftime over-unders, some halftime wagering, some halftime doing whatever, and you can do that at mybookie.ag. Mobile site is awesome, and plus 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000 if you use the promo code ZONE100, ZONE100. By going to mybookie.ag, get yourself in the game. Use promo code ZONE100, ZONE100. Mybookie.ag. You play, you win, you get paid. All right. Phone line's clear. All right. I got a couple of these Twitter questions, and then we'll bring on home, and then we'll go eat chicken. Well, except for Yinka, because he's on a diet. Yeah.
Yinko, give in.
Hey, let's talk about the diet.
I'm actually getting taken out, so thankfully.
Let's talk about the diet, Yinka.
Let's not, but okay.
No, well, you're modeling.
Something like that.
More than just what we do before the podcast with a little caption and all that?
No, not that quite. I mean, that's on a different level of modeling. We're giving Twitter some of our best
The
looks.
finest?
The finest.
We're not dieting for that, just to be clear.
Yeah, we're not. We're not for that. Not for that. No, I have to get some headshots updated and just some photos that I want to send out to my agencies and stuff, because this is like a really good time to get calls from other entities that are looking for commercials and acting gigs and stuff. So I'm just trying to get.
He says agencies. He means for Twitter or for Tinder.
Yeah, for Tinder.
Headshot.
Tinder photos. Yeah. They don't work that well using headshots for Tinder. New guy knows.
At the real Gabby, is J-Ron legit in the nickel?
Yeah, I mean he hasn't been playing terribly, but I think Zim Zim likes his size. I think he likes what he's bringing to the table. I mean they're choosing him over George Iloka, and Anthony Harris hasn't really seen the field at all. So I mean, Jaron Curse is giving you quite a bit. He's on special teams. He's getting that nickel look. He's I don't know.
He's what we wanted Anton Exum to be.
Yeah. R.I.P. He's in.
I think he's in San Francisco
49ers.
now.
Yeah. So yeah.
Shame he wasn't there week one, because that would have been the Exum Bowl. Yeah. That's the Bradford Bowl.
It was supposed to be the Jerick McKinnon Bowl.
Yeah. So San Francisco, like that, their season went sideways in a hurry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You lost Jet. I mean, you were probably going to get to 8-8.
Yep.
You lost Jimmy. I mean, they might not win another game this season.
We coming for that ass, Jimmy.
Who's their quarterback right now?
CJ Beathard. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
And I like CJ Beathard.
Yeah.
I'm different than Reeve.
Oh, God, it'd be so great if Beathard doesn't work out and they just call up Cutler again. It's like strictly for LOL value.
Cutler's like, seriously, man, I'm like sitting here drinking eggnog.
He probably, if you pay him $15 million, he'll come back.
I'm a reality. It only cost the Dolphins 10. They got him cheaper. It's like I'm a reality TV star now. Like he's a bigger star on his show than his wife.
Because he's a lot more entertaining.
Yeah.
His wife is, the problem is his wife started off doing the whole, Laguna Beach and then that kind of vibe or whatever the case is. And she settled into being a reality star. So it's really hard for her to just be like a regular person. Whereas Jay is just like, he's that way all the time.
Yeah. See, that's, I human beings, we like genuineness when someone is comfortable in their own skin because us as humans, we're pretty good at smelling BS. So, yeah. Also from the real Gabby, what kind of tribute will the Vikings do for Teddy on 10/28, and will he get the loudest ovation of the night?
Yeah, I would say so.
I don't think they'll do anything, but
they won't do anything.
I do think a Teddy chant will start.
Oh yeah, they'll definitely will. Like Breeze is playing pretty poorly, and then the Vikings fans will start saying Teddy.
Obviously hoping the Vikings win the game. But if Cousins throws a really terrible interception, just for strictly passive aggressive LOL value, I want the U.S. Bank Stadium Sunday Night Football to start going Teddy.
Oh my God.
Like the
Just
Vikings,
for laughs.
the Vikings get blown out like 35-4 or something like that.
Yeah, we got to all remember, even after this Eagles win, this is still a Minnesota sports team. Something still can go wrong.
Yes, definitely.
At John Day Kahuna, if special teams woes continue, does Prefer have a job next year? I think he's gone.
I just think some of it's not his fault, so he might still be here next year. I mean, not having Marcus Sherrills for a good majority of the start of the season, I think will give him a little bit more of a leash, But the special teams has just like not performed very well, and you've lost your kicker who you traded up for. You've allowed for some special teams touchdowns and just like big explosive special team plays that probably shouldn't have happened. You haven't really generated very much special team explosive plays yourself. So I mean, you have to ask yourself, like, what is Prefer really doing right now that's giving that Vikings a competitive edge?
And him advocating for Daniel Carlson.
Yes.
Can't help his case. I mean,
and Jeff Locke.
Yeah, and Jeff Locke. And I think the other truth about him is that anyone who's been there that long is always it's always tougher to retain, right? Especially if you start seeing these things. Like sometimes you go, we just need another set of eyes on all this to get it right, so that you have what they had before, which was stability. I think it was Longwell and Kluey. You had about a 5-year gap. You want to get somewhere like that because special teams, you only notice it when it goes wrong, and we've been talking about special teams quite a bit, at least early on in the season.
I will say Wiles was a great pickup.
That was crazy
to let go of your kicker, who I mean, honestly, was kind of starting to. I mean, last year. Not great.
You're saying the punter.
Yeah, the punter. And then really to let him go and pick up Wiles the way that you did, and he's been performing very, very well. I think it's the thing that's part of the reason why maybe you don't draft specialists, maybe why and if you are going to hold them off to the 7th round.
Pick up players that need to change.
Do you think Spielman doubles down, snags a long snapper in the 6th? They got extra compensatory picks.
Well, I think Kevin McDermott's going to be around for a while because he's proven himself to be
Kevin 9.5 McDermott.
Yeah, right.
And not in a sexual connotation way.
Oh, okay, I was going to say that's the fun. But yeah, like, I mean, this Spielman definitely likes to draft the specialists. He loves getting his kickers. He likes getting those guys who huge legs can really put them in a position where they're on the 45-yard line, kick that field goal, win the game for them. But as we've seen, you just gotta maybe if you are gonna draft a guy, find Mr. Consistency, and instead of getting the big leg, try finding the. I
think that's so hard to value.
It is.
Though, the mentality, yeah.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like we're seeing these guys who the Vikings, 2 guys in a row now, Blair Walsh and Daniel Carlson.
Who is that? Who's Mankato's kicker? Why not go back to the old well?
Yeah. You'll see. Maybe it's just holding more kicking tryouts throughout the offseason so you can continue to try to find...
I like the change of scenery approach. Is just find someone who was good and maybe needs just a mental reset, as someone's going to do with Daniel Carlson.
Exactly.
I would assume.
Yeah.
Although, not gonna lie, watching Mason Crosby and his stupid silver fox face just melt down by missing 5 kicks, glorious.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But I think we celebrated a little bit too early because we're like, ha ha ha. And then Dan Bailey misses 2 kicks and we're like, oh no.
Oh yeah, karma baby.
Yeah.
This is how it goes. But Dan Bailey, of course, being the professional, nails that 52-yarder when he needs it. Of course. Yeah. As opposed to Daniel Carlson.
I think that's why you have more confidence in him going forward. It's not necessarily is he on a roll, but can he bounce back if he misses a couple big ones?
Yeah. From Joe Schmo 84, what's wrong with Kendricks? He doesn't appear injured, knows the D, and isn't last in his prime. I don't get it. I don't get it either. We talked about it a little bit early on. It's like, he's too talented to be this bad, and also if you're getting paid like Kuechly, should play like Kuechly.
I don't think Kendricks is coasting either. I think he's just playing poorly. Some of it I think is schematic. Putting him in like not ideal situations, and I think some of it is just like he's just not performing at a very high level, which. I'm not as worried as Eric Kendricks, even though I do admit that he's not performing very well, and I think his issues are covered up a lot more so because we have guys like Sheldon Richardson and Laval Joseph up front, and having Harrison Smith right there. Anthony Barr obviously being on edge. When he makes mistakes, they're very apparent because it usually is the thing that's leading to those 15 to 20 yard. After the point of contact, those are usually the places we see. So it's easier to see Anthony Barr when he's not performing well. But Eric Kendricks has not been playing well. He's not been playing well in coverage. He hasn't been playing well. He missed quite a few tackles. But hopefully he turns it on towards the kind of this getting done with the second quarter of the NFL season, but more so in the third and fourth quarter.
All right, so we talked about Jimmy Butler in the movie. Jamie Foxx would play Jimmy Butler. Who would play a cat?
Karl Anthony Towns.
Unlike Wiggins.
That's a good question. They're actually very unique people.
Ooh, Thibodeau, Steve Carell in a fat suit.
Or Danny DeVito.
Oh, that'd be good too. Actually, that'd be better.
Would be amazing.
Yeah. Cat, could you go back in time and get a young Will Smith to play Cat?
Yeah, I could. Yeah,
you could.
Yeah.
He has this. He could do the hairstyle.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who Wiggins would be, but Cat will be in a movie, I bet.
Oh, how about we go the route of casting old athletes? Darius Miles, see what he's up to. He's got the braids too.
I have a friend who has a Darius Miles jersey, which I think is a valuable item.
Man, the stupid Clippers were supposed to be good before they were quasi good. Like when they had Darius Miles and Elton Brand, Lamar Odom. I mean, come on.
What's his name? We blew it now.
Sean Livingston.
Livingston, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to be good. Who's the coach? It doesn't matter.
It probably was Vinny Del Negro, if I was going to guess, but I don't know.
Who's the most random basketball player that you just adored? Because mine was Detlef Schrempf.
That's
in those Sonics unis.
That's a great call. Most random, and we're going non-Timberwolves division.
Sure. Because if it was Timberwolves, of course it'd be like Chris Carr or Anthony Peeler.
Anthony Peeler. I'm trying to think of a random basketball player that I was just a huge fan of.
Like Rick Smits.
I had a John Starks jersey when I was a kid.
Ooh, actually,
not random. I mean, he was
I have a random guy.
Yeah.
What?
I had a Zerbiak jersey. Not a great purchase.
No, like the Knicks too, when they had
he was fine.
Camby and Anthony Mason and Allen Houston and Sprewell.
Yeah.
Before he went nuts.
Sprewell.
Yeah.
Sprewell.
Sprewell.
Actually, I think Allen Houston might be my random player. Because behind Ray Allen, I think Allen Houston has like the sexiest jumper.
Yeah. There's a lot of, it's fun going back to like 90s basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in those jerseys. Like the Pistons thought that was okay. And the Rockets one was good. The Raptors one I like. You know what I'm talking about? The Vince Carter. Yeah. I don't know.
Rufio Fox. We now return to football. X3. Who has been the most underwhelming defensive starter compared to last year besides Barr and Kendricks? Could you say Sendejo?
Xavier Rhodes.
Oh, yeah, Xavier.
I think, when you think about a guy who's sometimes touted as a top 5 corner in the league, I don't think he's performed that way so far. I think you're seeing him get burned more often than not. I think some of it's frustration just because he can't press the way that he always wants to.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't see him as a top 5 corner right now. I don't even think I see him as a top 10 corner right now.
On the team, maybe.
But I would say Xavier Rhodes.
Last two, then we're getting out of here. Dave Whedon, I've been out of the country for 3 weeks with very limited internet access. Where'd you go, man? WTF happened. So that would be Bills, Rams, and Eagles.
Jimmy Butler went to practice.
That's the entire gauntlet of emotions for being a Vikings fan, essentially. You get your ass kicked by a terrible team, hang in, get a moral victory with a really good team.
If you're face to face with him, you're at a bar with him, do you just skip the Bills game? You're like, yeah, what was the Bills score? And you're like, I don't remember.
It's not just shrug and be like, Vikings, man. That's pretty much
it's
it.
Like he's looking at the stats and he's like, wait, did they record one for Bills game or something wrong with this site?
Last one, T-Bice 1012. How have Weatherly and Bauer been filling in for Griffin? What can they improve on? Well, Bauer can be on the field. Weatherly, I think Weatherly has looked pretty damn good.
He has, and this actually speaks more to how good, and I could definitely see him getting a higher coaching job next year. Andre Patterson is how he's so consistently able to develop these guys who are later round picks. I mean, Everson Griffin, we talked earlier, he was a 4th round pick, and now he's one of the top in the league. Stephen Weatherly, he's playing really well. I think I would not be surprised if Tayshaun Bauer, starts to come in his own as he gets more play time. But Stephen Weatherly is playing phenomenal for honestly having to step in and being that opposite of Daniil Hunter.
Hell, I wonder what Aude Aruna would be at this point if he had stayed healthy.
Man.
Yeah.
What he could have been.
He probably would be on the roster now, right?
Yeah, I think if not on the roster, practice squad guy that that would take one injury for them to call him up and whatnot.
Oh yeah, they cut both the Nigerian guys in, Fadi and Aude. It's like, this is just. Rick Spin was like, I need to get back at Yinka.
It was a tough time for not signing my brother, cutting both Nigerian. It was a tough time for the Nigerian community for the Vikings, and I had much.
I think you should just go break in and try to talk to him.
Yeah, I should just go in and just pretend I'm at a little function and just camp outside his office.
Yinka, what are you working on this week? What are you grinding on?
Not grinding on anything yet. I'm actually waiting until a few more games in, and I'm probably gonna have a bigger piece. It's gonna be a kind of a funny, but a very sexy Prince.
I wish people could see your face. That's
Kirk Cousins is a fraud. Tom, what's going on at Zone Coverage?
Well, there's a lot going on. I will be at practice tomorrow. Dane and I are going to decipher what's going on with Jimmy Butler because, there's a lot going on. Definitely check out.
I'm surprised that there's still media access.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's more to come. It's
should be on lockdown.
It's a lot of craziness. Vikings, check out everyday content from Sam. Follow Brandon Warren. He's kind of breaking down what's going on with the Twins. Just a lot of Wild started, Gopher hockey. There's a lot going on right now. So definitely check in every day with the site. Follow our writers. A lot of fun stuff. It's just tiring you out.
If you had to bet $100 who's going to be the next Twins manager, who you putting your shekel on?
Oh, man. I feel like Derek Shelton, who was the bench coach, probably has the inside track. I don't know. I think it's very much going to be a guy who is going to take a lot of direction from the front office.
Jason Garrett, come on down.
No, God, no. The Clapper, not good.
Don't talk about Jason Garrett's sex life on here. On that note, listen to Hour 1. Show's available on iTunes, Stitcher, iRadio, Spotify, Google Play, zonecoverage.com/machine. But for not Luke and not Arif, but Yink is here.
Yeah,
Tom's
man.
here. Eric Van der Glass. I'm Andy saying, Bye-bye. Enjoy your weekend.